Alright, we are live. Welcome to Scapegoat 2. One of the most unknown games that is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, really great game.
I'm going to explain one piece of technique before I start the run. That is a boost jump. Normally in this game, you have a basic double jump. The game intends you to be able to jump 4 blocks high. If you do a very specific timing on releasing and repressing the double jump, you'll be able to jump 5 blocks high. That breaks some intended solutions. It'll be seen pretty often, but that is a boost jump. You'll see it in the first level. So
it's the main unintentional trick we do in the run.
Yeah, there's a couple others because 100% gets to show some other things off. But yeah, let's get going. 3, 2, 1, go. But yeah, this game has a pretty basic story. You are entering a tower to save your sheep friends. They're trapped.
And to save your goat hide.
So, in 100%, there are secret rooms, and you have to find keys in regular rooms in order to find the secret rooms. There's one in the very first level of the game.
Yeah.
These are designed to be extremely difficult, and if I die during the run, which will almost certainly happen because a deathless run has never been done, it'll probably be in one of these rooms, like right there.
Yeah, Scapegoat 2 is an extremely difficult game to speedrun because there's just all kinds of ways for just you to die instantly in one hit or to mess up a puzzle, and then there's just no other choice than to die and essentially reset the room, which makes this game really, really consistent to plan out your strategies of how you're going to tackle a room, because there is no RNG in this game. It's all set. So it's all on you to react and not screw up that jump and die. And
yeah, that was an effect of the squishiness mechanics, where if you do get caught between some blocks, the game will try to eject you, and if it fails to eject you after a certain amount of time, well, it kills you.
Yeah, you pop like a grape.
It is fairly generous, though, as you'll see in the level after this. I'll be able to clip between some falling blocks to jump around a puzzle, quite literally.
So what is the goal of 100%?
Goal is to get all 16 sheep souls and clear all 14 crystal shard rooms. And those are the secret rooms, which I did one at the very beginning.
Yeah. So as we explained beforehand, the sheep can double jump, has a little dash, and these are all like very precise movements. Like they're always going to go a set distance no matter what. But we also get a nice nifty little friend here, a little mouse known as Henry. And we can use them to have them crawl up walls. We can place them down to press down on switches and pressure plates.
We can also throw them out in front of us to block fireballs. We call that Henry shielding.
Yes, because Henry is invincible for he will always return to you if he takes lethal damage, and if you're good enough, yes, you can very well just continuously block up fireballs with them. It's pretty difficult to do, but as Stinger will eventually show at some point, it is something you can learn with enough practice.
Yeah. I'm getting the next secret room here. This one's a fair bit more difficult than the first level that I did. This one has ice physics and saw blades.
Yeah, this game definitely has a little bit of a Super Meat Boy vibe at times with the amount of, like, moving parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no health system. One hit and you die. But also to note in this room, I'm doing a pretty interesting strat with dropping Henry off here and also going off to hit this skull switch in the corner, letting him travel most of the distance to get to the switch, which opens up the final doorway. And as you have probably noticed, the levels are way too short to give proper commentary on each and every strat.
No, but we can at least kind of give you some idea of what is the kind of things he's been interacting with to a degree. Like, for example, these Grim Reaper type enemies, they will throw fireballs at the goat or Henry if they are on the direct line of sight. And that's even if like there's something in between them, like a wall or something. They will continuously shoot fireballs, and there's several puzzles involving using their fireballs to ignite, burn something in order to progress.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what these first few rooms in the forest levels here are just using their fire to blow something up.
Yeah, right there was the first use of a Henry shield to block the fireball that came from the exploding TNT barrel.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing more of these Reapers. They're an extremely common variety of obstacles in this game.
Yeah, obstacles or tools, because a lot of the time you're using them to ignite something, whether it's a burning block or TNT barrels like in the last level.
Or even ice blocks later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, each kind of like subworld of this tower usually has a different name and a different theme attached to it as well. With excavation, we are getting into some ice. So the ice blocks, when you dash into them, you can push them forward and they will not stop sliding until they fall off the edge or hit a wall.
Yeah, this place is all about the ice physics. And one other thing to note, which is specific to 100%, each section, each world has 2 areas to it. It's basically an introduction to mechanics, and then a second half, which is, alright, let's see what you can do with these mechanics. And the second half of these levels are much more difficult.
Yeah, though there is some tricks in the first half that, obviously for speedrunning, definitely can't be considered tricky. Like the one he's doing right... I am insanely jealous that you're able to do that room that consistently. 3-3, I don't know why, it's just
There's actually a really weird mechanic to it, where if you bounce Henry off an ice block, he gains a little bit of height. But also, I have one more secret room I need to get into. This one is pretty well hidden. I'm actually going to have to get that Reaper to drop down, melt all these fireballs to get to the key that's right over there in the corner. I also almost died there.
I was gonna say, dude.
But yeah, more saw blades. This one is kind of an escort mission, where you have to press these buttons at the right time, and they're single press buttons too, so if you mess up, no going back.
But, which is usually not a huge loss. The rooms are kind of like mini challenges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
get unlimited lives, so it's not a huge penalty. Lives are really just a tool to learn what you messed up.
Yeah, usually the first time experience of this game is just discovering, figuring things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, as much as I'm making it kind of look like a puzzle, a precision platformer, this is very much a puzzle platformer when you first play through it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny with the Scapegoat 2 community when people ask what is the intended solution, and our response is almost always is going to be, what was the solution you figured out? Okay, that was the intended solution. Congratulations.
A lot of levels have several different solutions that are possible. Not just the ones that we do in the run.
Sequestered library. This is probably one of my favorites for just showing off like really good Henry use.
Yeah, like the Henry shields just there. I tossed Henry out in front of me to absorb those fireballs as I was moving across towards the Reaper.
Yeah, this is also where we're introduced to a little bit of these switches when activated will cause lightning.
Yeah, this is where electrical beams are introduced. I'm gonna try a pretty hard strat here. Call it the squeeze. I jumped a little bit too early. I have to slide down the column before these blocks move in and either block me off or kill me.
Yeah, this is
very tight timing.
It's very tight. You could literally spend how many times did I? This room is brutal. It is. Stinger is making it look fairly simple, but the untold amount of hours he's poured into this room is unquestionable.
That's probably one of my top 2 or 3 rooms as far as time investment. That did not go according to plan, but I recovered it. Alright, that could have been much, much worse.
Yeah, despite how difficult these rooms are, there is a little bit of leeway.
That's a fun strat right there. You line up the Reaper to shoot a fireball and melt a ice block. And it goes just in time for you to fall alongside the stone block, and it cuts off the electrical beams.
Yeah, but it's one of those things you kind of blink and you miss it the first time you see it.
Yeah, the next section is going to introduce us more to Henry power-ups. Specifically, the one we'll see the most in here is the magic hat. We saw that earlier in 3.4. It allows the goat and Henry to trade locations. And they'll leave a trail of destruction in between them. They'll break anything in between.
And most enemies.
Like all those blocks.
And saw blades.
And saw blades. But there's 3 different upgrades for Henry. Actually, technically 4. Hang on.
Yeah.
I didn't set up right.
Oh. No, yeah. Oh!
That's a tricky room.
That's the tricky room for you of all these rooms?
Well, when you're going fast.
Oh yeah, we're also, this is kind of like a very limited gimmick in this game. And why
it's the Necromancer Totem. It allows you to create 4 copies of Henry.
There's very limited uses of this in this game, so we won't be seeing a whole lot of it, but like this room, I will say 5-4 is at least one of the more flashier uses of it. It looks impressive, it always does.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to take this time to introduce you to another mechanic, Ratapulting. If you dash and throw Henry up at the same time, he goes flying.
It's actually fairly difficult to time, I find. I could be bad, though.
You play on PS4. Those controls are,
I play on PC, too. I just bought the PS4 version because I wanted to see what it was like.
PS4 version is still pretty good, although unfortunately you cannot rebind controls on it. You can for the PC version, but I'm not a huge fan of the default binds. This area introduces one-way doors. It also introduces the Cape of Vengeance, which I'm about to get here.
Yeah. So the Cape of Vengeance lets you swap, basically slingshot Henry from one surface to another in a straight line, and he's capable of destroying those things while he's doing this. And one thing to note about those one-way doors as well is, yes, you pass through them, you can't return back the other way, but you can place Henry down while the door is still technically open, and it will remain open.
This is a frame-perfect trick right here. If I get the right frame, Henry will be shot straight up like that and will instantly get over to the switch. That was actually pretty bad. I usually get it third or fourth try at worst, but oh well.
Yeah, that room otherwise is kind of just simple leading Henry along the platforms otherwise, and that's pretty slow.
But yeah, that is 6 sheep souls down out of 16 so far.
So what you guys have been seeing up to this point, minus the stained glass rooms, has largely been what you would see in any percent run, but we're going to be starting to get into rooms that would only be seen in 100%.
Yeah, this next section I'm about to go in is entirely skipped in the any percent route, because the any percent route only requires 7 sheep souls, and there are 8 areas. And this is the slowest of the initial areas that you would go to.
Yep, Temple of Adoration. And it also introduces a new power-up for Henry here. This is called the Tiny Hammer. This lets you turn Henry into a block that you can stand on, or drop on somebody's head, or other kinds of inventive uses that I'm sure Stinger is going to show me, because I do not do 100%, and I do not follow the 100% strats, so I'm sure I will learn something.
Yeah. It's not going to be shown in this room, but in 7-3, which I'm not going to get to for a little bit because I actually have some secret rooms to get to first. I'll be actually trying to jump off of... that's not good. I'm going to reset this. It's probably easier to reset the room. I mistimed a little bit and Henry ended up on the wrong square. Alright, there. There are 2 invisible switches down there that you need Henry to turn into a block to cover up both. And that is what allows you access to the secret key there. Good enough. There is a secret key in this room as well. I'm going for the normal exit first, because I want to explain the 100% strat here. I'm going to do something extremely different at the very start. I'm going to actually jump outside of that initial block to hit this switch over here myself, without having to go all the way around. And I have actually already messed it up because I need Henry to break both of those blocks so I can just fall straight down into here.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges of running this game is just, like I said before, this game has no option. Everything is set the moment you enter a room. Because a lot of just going through and running through this game is a lot of just built-in reflexes. You're used to rooms to going a certain way, and if you go into a room and you're not mentally ready for that room, you start to bleed time pretty fast, just because of just the simplest little mistake.
Yeah, and these rooms are definitely not easy at all. Going through that area, dodging saws, and also baiting out Reaper shots at specific times.
And then Henry shielding to survive. Yeah, a lot of little moving parts that you really do have to build your reflexes for.
Here I'm trying to jump off Henry in midair. There we go.
Well,
I was actually landing on him a little bit too low, and so I wasn't able to clear the jump. This room is the bane of my existence. I am going to attempt to squeeze the Reaper off. Okay, I got it. I pushed the Reaper off that top platform so that he could end up on the right side of the map so that he can melt the ice blocks to allow me access to the key down there. It's hard. That's probably the that and S10, which was the cross-shaped electrical beam room. Those are the two gatekeepers for 100% PB attempts for me.
I can believe it. In that room, like, casually, it's extremely obnoxious and slow, leading that stupid freaking Reaper around.
Yeah, I hated the intended strategy for that room too.
But now we're into the Graves English, and now we're introduced to foam platforms where if you stand on them, they will collapse.
There's two different types of bone platforms. One is a slow falling one. The other one collapses very quickly and turns into an actual stone block. The slow collapsing one just disappears. Right there I went for a frame perfect dash to dash in between two blocks in order to get into the door, but didn't quite get it. It doesn't cost too much time. But this little section right here is actually the fastest section in any percent. Yeah, as of here, almost everything you're going to see from here on out is going to be rooms that are basically just seen in 100% until the very end. None of basically the next 70 exits or so, or anything you'd see in any percent. And oftentimes, to reach the doorway to the secondary, you have to solve another puzzle in these sheep soul rooms. They're not too bad.
Once you learn the solution.
Yeah.
Finding them casually, not so much.
May have actually messed this up. We'll see how this works out. Okay. I'm just going to eat the time loss. There's a strat here that I was going for, where the Reaper will fall very quickly, and will actually ignite the second row of TNT barrels, and make sure I survive there. It's about 10 seconds faster than what I just did there, but
it's still faster than if restarting from scratch again.
Yeah. Here I'm going to do a little strat with the fireball's area of effect, I guess you would call it. It hits the wall, but it ignites the block below it. That's a frame perfect fireball timing. Oh, so, that was unfortunate. I bonked the block and didn't get through the one tile gap. One tile gaps are impossible, by the way.
So I've heard. So we're getting some more moving blocks. Like we showed with using Henry when we turn him into a block in order to kind of like shove the Reapers aside. We can use that with the ice blocks here.
Alright. This one is a fairly tricky stained glass room. Oh, I missed the last dash in that sequence.
Yeah, when you dash mid-air, your momentum comes to a pretty rough stop. And you just start to just fall straight downwards.
Yeah, doing dashes and jumps in the right sequence is pretty huge for being able to do certain strats in the run. If you mess up even one part of a sequence, you're probably in for a bad time.
It just goes to show that this game is it is a precision platformer at its heart, with the majority of your time just figuring out what to do as a puzzle game.
This one's not too bad. I do a little trick to get Henry onto the underside of this, hopefully. Oh, I had it. Okay. But that just lets Henry travel a much quicker path. Okay. We're doing that again, because I'm dumb. Alright. I can't mess it up from here.
Don't jinx it.
I did.
Yeah, as you can see, he had to do it that way. Otherwise, he would have gone through that one-way gate, and he wouldn't have been able to use the exit.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about how well this game does perform as far as movement. It's a very silky smooth movement kind of game. A lot of love and care was put into making sure the movement mechanics worked very well.
Yeah, even to the point where like the skill ceiling of this game is incredibly high.
Yeah, every level is basically a frame warp. Haven't really talked about it yet, but if you look in the top left corner, you'll see an in-game timer. That timer will track your best time for every level. By the way, I'm also clipping through a block. Just, you know. It's basically the only clip in the game. Haven't been able to find a use for it. Look at
it's an actual clip. It's not like you're squeezing through it, right?
Oh, it's very much an actual clip.
Instant replay. Thank you, Stinger.
That is exactly also one of the most difficult levels in the game. I've spent a lot of time practicing it, but speaking of difficult levels, I'm going for a hard timing on a... Well, I can't actually get it now. I was going for a hard timing on a boost jump. But unfortunately, I did not get the right pattern at the very start. But I would have been able to try and dash over to jump off a block and do a boost jump off of it. But there was the clip again. let's see if I can get the faster strat here. I did not. Alright, that doesn't really cost too much time, just a couple of seconds. There is something you can do with getting the Reaper to sit on top of a block for a couple frames and shoot a fireball a little bit higher than you normally would. But this level is all about the timings and just putting Henry on that whole block to make him go around and around.
Yeah, and the urge to fight the reflex of calling Henry back naturally. And realize
that's a pretty big reflex. This level is extremely busy. There's a lot of TNT barrels. Oh, I should not have gone for that. Not after I balked him.
Oh.
Okay. That is the earliest cycle I can get past that Reaper.
Yeah, balking is very, very, very easy to do in this game. Because all you have to hit is, you know, the slight little corner of a block, or the slight little corner of a tile, whatever, you're gonna bonk into it.
There is actually one unfortunate mechanic of the game where if you are if you bonk a block, because you're right next to it, you can still land on top of the block even though you're trying to jump above it. It's because of the way the game detects when you dash and what height you're at. It's just detecting a block in front of you, so you bonk, and then you land on top of it. But otherwise, it's not too bad. We're just going through the second halves of all of these areas, and you can basically see how they're a lot more intricate than the tutorial levels. Did a little strat there to make a TNT barrel roll away from where it's intended to be, to melt the block to it. Let me access the endpoint. Oh, that's...
Nice recovery.
Yeah, I missed the first cycle I could have gotten it on, but that was another secret room.
The only thing I'm really sad about is because we're doing stained glass rooms in such a way that they're not back to back to back, consensually, we're not hearing the full awesomeness that is the song.
I wonder if I should make that a marathon route. One thing about this category's timing, this game has a very good internal timer, in-game timer. That is how we judge runs, is using the in-game timer. But I do some map movement to optimize real time, even though that's not the priority. But it is something that we consider a little bit, because if we're gonna optimize real time without sacrificing game time, why not? But yeah, for a marathon run, I probably could change up the route a bit.
Yeah, the only downside to that, of course, is like I hinted at earlier, where your internal preparation for what you're going to do and what room you're going into next, that could affect that kind of decision making.
That was unfortunate. I completely forgot to grab a key in that room. This is a pretty cool intended solution. You actually have to make the Reaper right across this block in order to activate the switch twice, in order to give you access to the exit door.
Yeah, that is neat. You have to time it pretty spot on too, because you'll notice that even the Reaper could potentially fall off mid sliding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've definitely died in that room before because I missed the timings.
Yeah. Honestly, you're doing pretty well so far. I've lost count of how many deaths you had so far, but you're still not quite in the double digits yet.
Oh, I'm definitely way into double digits.
You sure? Oh,
Absolutely.
Man, I am tired, dude.
So, fun story about this room. I'm going to ride this basically all the way up to the end, where I'll do a jump up at the very end just to avoid riding it all the way. But there is a strat where you stop riding this shortly after the start to dash and jump over to these blocks where these saw blades are. People have actually done that strat in real time. It's obscenely hard. It's basically TAS only, except in a very controlled IL setting. It's never going to be safe for runs, but it saves about 25 seconds.
I might have seen worse than you do it.
He is one of the people who has done it.
Yeah. Don't let his name fool you.
Yeah, I really should shout out Worse Than You. He has put a ton of time into this category. He currently does have the second best time, which honestly, in the 100% parts of the run, he did better than I did. I do have the record, but it truly excelled in the 80% sections, not the 100% areas.
This is a game it's very easy to get trapped into ILs, just practicing rooms constantly.
Nice little strat with using Henry to bait there and shield off the left Reaper. The goal of that room is to have two switches hit at the same time. Also, I didn't even really explain that, but the elevator trick there is fairly difficult. I have to do a ratapult there that was less than full strength by delaying the start of the ratapult.
I gotta take care of something else here. Leave it to you for now.
Alright. Let's see, so that is library down. Library 2, I should say, down. I believe that is 12 sheep souls that we have so far. So we got 4 more to go. That'd be Necromouser, Crystal Halls, Temple of Adoration, and Graveyard. I'm doing a ratapult here. There are invisible switches on both sides of the room. So I ratapulted Henry over to the far side of the room and jumped up to the other switch myself. There's a strat in this room using the magic hat to take out all the Reapers in the middle. Yeah, this is a pacifist run. Actually, it's not, but we're doing pacifist strats in that room because it's a lot faster. This is a pretty cool puzzle room. you have to hit switches in a certain order, and it's pretty fun to optimize and then execute. Here we're going to go unlock another secret room. This is one of my favorite secret rooms in the game. You'll see why in a second. Electric beams. Unfortunately, it is very easy to die here. But also, there's a cheeser out right there where you can drop down a one tile block wide space to bypass the second half of the room. Which is actually a little annoying. I really like that entire room, but it does make it a lot more consistent for speedruns. I'm actually going to go ahead and knock out another secret room here. There is an invisible switch, which I'm going to get that barrel to hit, and that gives me access to the key. And if you do not dash here, you die at the very start of the level, so you have to dash. You can try and hold the direction if you'd like, to try and avoid dying to the falling saw blades right at the start. But you'll still die. Let's see, how many stained glass rooms is that down? I believe that's 12 of them. So, fun strat coming up in the next room. I'm going to do a air boost jump off of this platform, which is a dash and then a boost jump. And that lets me circumvent about half the puzzle right there. I don't even have to touch the right side of the room. Oh, get over the block, please. Moving on to crystal halls. There's a strat in the next room which involves dashing off of a switch from a pretty far left position in order so that the goat stays on it as long as possible. And that's to keep a gate open on this right side as open as long as possible. That is actually a lot harder than I made it look right there. Alright. Here I am getting another secret room. The key is hidden all the way at the top corner there. Some of these key placements are pretty incredible. But this is actually probably my least favorite room in the game. This is a lot of just timings of hitting switches, and yeah, you just have to let the Reaper on the right side of the room go and do the things. There's a pretty cool strat coming up with an Henry shield. Right there. I got thrown up in the air by the TNT blocks, and I dropped Henry as soon as I got thrown up so that he would absorb the fireball that was coming. Oops. But I can just place Henry down right there in the middle of this so that he can just hold the door open for me. It's used in a couple places with one-way doors or other doors that'll close back up. I am messing up the order of jump versus dash. That is something I mentioned earlier. It's pretty key whether you are jumping or dashing in the correct order. If you do not, certain levels will not go your way. So the start of that room is supposed to be jump, dash, jump. But I was not doing that. Okay, this is not going to go well. I almost recovered it, but I kept messing up the Henry placement onto the wall. Okay, come on. Oh my gosh. I thought I called Henry back, but I had not. This is an unfortunate level. Okay. At least we're out of that. This next room has a pretty interesting kind of sort of flip. I can dash in between those two blocks when the middle blocks get raised up. Almost got to all the switches there. A little bit of swag strats. Alright, we are back to Temple of Adoration, which has a couple of the harder levels remaining in the run. This next level has a difficult jump that I have to do in the middle. Had to take that a little bit safer. But the dash in the middle, there's 2-frame timing. 2-frame window timing to... That was a little bit close. I had to do an extra Henry shield to make sure I wouldn't die there. Fortunately, I made the rest of the level fairly safe. But, the intended strat for that room is to get both of those blocks held down at the same time by actually permanent objects. That takes a long time to get down there. But this next level has an extremely dangerous strat at the very end. I have to hit inputs in a very specific sequence at times, or I'm dead. I actually did one extra dash and didn't even get to the hard part there. Alright, got it. The inputs at the very end there are jump, special, Henry, or jump, special, dash, Henry. If I do any one of those out of sequence in the extremely short time frame that I have to do those, I die. But we only have one more sheep soul to get before we can go into the final area. That was a very good room, actually. If I were actually running splits, that would probably be a gold. Speaking of which, we actually have a live split timer that will split on individual rooms. Auto splitters are very nice things to have. Really, it's more of a shout out to the community for having all these amazing tools created. So, you may have missed what happened right there. I tossed Henry up right at the very start to trigger the 2 Reapers that were at the top, and that just blew up all the TNT barrels in the room. Let's see. I had to make a backup strat there to get the room back on course. Fortunately, we are good now. Did cost a little bit of time though. So this is a gimmick room. It is pitch black. Fortunately, if you know the layout, it's not too bad. And once you get all of the keys, you at least can see where the door is. But until you get all the keys, it's pitch black and you can't not see the door. That's a decent little timing puzzle. Just step on the bone blocks at the correct timings to get the saw blade to fall and eventually reach the bottom where it breaks the block. And we are moving on to the final area of the game, the layers of Tarragos. The Tarragos is sort of a boss enemy in this game. That's basically a bone snake that will, whenever it hits a wall or a solid object, it will turn in the direction of you and just basically attempt to follow your path. So if you're below it, it hits a wall, it'll try to turn down to reach you. Oh, come on. That's a tricky boost jump because of the corner right there. There's a secret room in here. It will be the final secret room. I will be doing the normal exit first because it's a little faster to optimize the map movement. But you can see I was placing the goat at certain spots in order to make sure that the Tarragos would fall. So he'll try to get down into that bottom right corner because I'm down there. Now because I'm over on the left side, it's going to try and follow me over to the left. I'm going to try and do what is known as a super boost jump right there. It's called a super boost jump because it actually has to be an even higher height than a normal boost jump because you have to get the Tarragos to turn upwards. This is another escort mission kind of puzzle. You have to get Henry through all these lasers. Second try. Not too bad. This is one of the most infamous strats in the any percent route. I'm actually going to give it a second shot because it deserves a good shot. I'm going to attempt to jump off of ice block in midair in order to reach the keys on the right side. I did jump off the block in midair, but unfortunately I was too low. Actually, I already messed up the strap because I let Henry stay on switch too long. So we're doing it a third time. And we got it third time. That is a pretty difficult strat. I really only have a success rate of like 30% at best on that strat. It's a sequence of essentially frame perfect movements, all of which have to be in line with each other. There are several different sets of inputs that can give you the ice block jump, but every single set is very specific to each other. You can't be off by a frame on any one of the inputs in those sets. I think there's really a tremendous number of possible combinations of inputs. I think there's hundreds. Someone actually ran a calculator script to determine all of the different ice block jump possibilities. But again, every single one is frame perfect to itself. This room, there's a actually I already messed it up. I put Henry down way too early and then I couldn't put him back down in time. We're going to use some interesting manipulation of Tarragos and trying to pick up those keys ourselves instead of letting Tarragos collect them for us. But I have to be able to survive going up there. Alright. And if this were any percent, that's where the run would end. I would go into the exit at the top of this room, and that would be the game. But we got 5 more levels. Really 4 more real levels. And they include some of the harder strats. This next room, the ending is extremely difficult. I'm going to reset that just so I can try and get this on the right timings. So, at the end of this room, I'm going to be attempting to jump across a very large gap. Right here. I barely have enough space to make that jump. If you're not careful with your positioning, you won't make it. You just straight up will not make it. Alright, and we are entering the last real room of the game. It has the Cape of Vengeance, which is the power-up that shoots Henry across the room. I want to make sure I do finish this out correctly, so hang on. Oh, I did not. Henry actually died to the Tarragos because it caught up to us. There's a fairly decent window to do this strat. I did a fair amount faster that time, but yeah, that ends up trapping the Tarragos in the corner, and we are out of the real final level. This one is just a little quick into the doorway. And yeah, that was Scapegoat 2 100%. That was 150 exits. We got 16 cheap souls, 14 stained glass shards. And yeah, if you want to make sure that you actually have a 100% file, play to the end, look at Henry, that's the mouse right there. If you got 100%, you'll get a thumbs up from him. If you didn't get 100%, well, you're not going to get a thumbs up. So, I encourage everyone to go and get 100% in this game. And shoutouts to Ian Stalker, the main developer of this game, and also of its predecessor, Scapegoat 1. He has been pretty supportive of the speedrunning community, and that's kind of an understatement. That speedrun timer that you saw in the upper left corner for the entirety of the game, that was not in at launch. That was built in, I think, like 2 weeks after, maybe only a week after the game launched, because the speedrunning community picked it up pretty early. And yeah, he's made a lot of changes to make the game a lot more speedrun friendly. And yeah, he's generally a pretty cool guy. I think he has a new game coming out next year, which would be his first in Scots. Hopefully that will have some news coming up soon. But I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end of the credits. That was a 49:01 in-game time, 35 deaths. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed Scapegoat 2 right there. I believe we have Peapot Dot coming up with Wizards and Warriors 3, any percent. Stay tuned for that. We are going to be swapping restreamers, so the stream will go down temporarily during this transition period and setup, but it should only be down for a couple seconds. So stick with us, and we'll get you to Wizards and Warriors 3 in just a few minutes. Take care, y'all.